I wanted to make a quick video about a problem I had with my ToolkitRC Q6AC charger and how I fixed it. Well, it's not a true fix, bypassed the actual problem. When plugging a battery and trying to charge, I was getting a voltage mismatch error on channel 3 only. All the other channels worked fine though. With the battery connected, the voltage readouts looked pretty normal, except for when disconnecting the balance lead, the voltage started to drop. In hindsight, this is a capacitor inside slowly self-discharging. But I also mess with trying to charge with just the XT60 only, but it's just charging up the capacitor essentially to a charge voltage. The battery is completely fine, it has a good voltage, so it's definitely a connection issue with the XT60 on the charger. Throughout this teardown, I only took pictures. It's quite difficult to record what you're doing without the right setup. So I put my engineering hat on with the pictures and made a PowerPoint, trying to walk you through what I did to open this charger up. There are 6 screws on the bottom, 4 of which are underneath the rubber feet. So you do have to peel the rubber off, and then the screws are hidden underneath. Of course, with my luck, one of the screws was absolutely tight, and I stripped the shit out of it when trying to loosen it. So I grabbed my drill and a drill bit, and with some mechanical abrasion, aka mangling, I was able to snap the screw head off. This overall worked. I was able to get the top off. Do beware though when you're pulling that top off that there is a ribbon cable and a power cable that connects the screen from the electronics. I have the ribbon cable and connector circled here also for clarity on this slide. So we have the charger open now. We can get a good look at what's inside. Quickly I can tell we have the AC power supplies on top and the DC on the bottom. To overall separate the AC, there are 4 screws and a connector from the input plug to undo. Once I undid the screws, I just flipped the AC side of the charger over, as there's a good chunk of connectors and wiring that are glued down, and I didn't want to break those and have to redo that later. So with that AC side out of the way, we can have a good look at the DC board. There's a good size heatsink blocking everything on the top, but it does look to be screwed down, so I couldn't necessarily get to that right away. There are 6 screws that hold the DC side to the charger case, so those 6 screws will need to be undone. The overall picture didn't really show them very well, so I did take like 6 separate pictures of each one, try and help show where they are, but they're kind of like basically in the 2 in the middle and 4 in the corners. The underside of the DC is definitely the brains of the charger. There's a lot going on. And looking at channel 3, so in all the SMD components and the charger side of it, I was just really looking for any obvious signs of something that like was broken or fried or charred, and I really didn't see anything that would explain the problem I'm seeing or explain why I just have no XT60 connection. Everything looks fine. The solder to the XT60 looks great, and I really don't see anything wrong. So I decided to unscrew the heatsink. There's 4 screws holding that from the bottom. And then we can essentially flip that back over and look at the top side. And there's definitely a lot more power side going where the heatsink is, which totally makes sense. And upon closer look, these 2 little things, they look familiar and look kind of interesting. And I bet these are SMD fuses. And I grabbed my multimeter, check continuity, and there is no connection across the fuse, so that's definitely the problem. To do a quick test, I soldered on a quick wire to bridge the fuse, and then reconnected the cover and screen back in to be able to test it. And with that small wire, and basically just bypassing the fuses, I'm now reading a voltage, no problem, due to the XT60. After some digging, I did find these SMD fuses on DigiKey, and so I have just a screenshot of the listing shown here. I did try and desolder them using my hot air gun, but I couldn't get them to desolder in time before I was starting to melt the plastic of the XT60s around it. So I basically just gave up on that and ended up just snipping a small piece of nickel strip and soldering that on top of the fuse, which basically is just bypassing them. and I don't really recommend this because basically I'm losing all the safety that that fuse is bringing to that channel. I will probably, I mean, it's a quick and dirty solution for me to be able to get the charger up and running again, but I'll probably go back in at some point and just order some fuses and solder them on top of the existing fuses that are in place, and that should be pretty easy to do. So that seems to fix the problem. I put everything back together and the charger's been working fine since. So I kind of hope that maybe this is kind of informative or helpful to somebody that maybe has the same problem. But I do also kind of plan on doing a part 2 around the charger, where kind of a nerdy technical talk about where we look at the different components and try and figure out what the charger is actually doing and how it works. Even as like a non-electrical engineer, I kind of see that as a fun learning experience, and I'd kind of make a video out of it and see if people want to see that as well. Alright, thanks for watching.